I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, March the 8th, 2016. Several terror attacks took place in Israel today within hours of each other. In Jaffa, 10 people were stabbed in a series of attacks in the city. At least 3 of them sustained very serious injuries, and 1 person is said to have later died of their injuries. The stabbing spree took place at 3 different locations in the city in close proximity to one another: at the Jaffa Boardwalk, on Nahum Goldman Street, and at the Clock Tower Circle. The Times of Israel reports that the attacker was shot and killed by police after a pursuit. And just about an hour earlier in Jerusalem, 2 Israeli police officers were severely injured in a shooting attack that took place near the Damascus Gate in the Old City. The Times of Israel reports that a man riding a motorcycle opened fire at the officers who were stationed at Salah ad-Din Street, hitting and seriously injuring them. The terrorist then fled with officers in pursuit. The terrorist then fired at those pursuing him, seriously injuring the second officer. Other officers returned fire and killed the terrorist. He was identified by Haaretz as 25-year-old Fuad Tamimi from the village of Isawiya. The 2 wounded officers were said to have sustained gunshots to the head. They were evacuated to Hadas Hospital in Ein Kerem, where one of them is said to be in life-threatening condition. The other is in stable condition. Just a short time before the Jerusalem attack, an ultra-Orthodox Jewish man in his 40s was stabbed in the back and seriously wounded by an Arab-Israeli man outside a store in Petach Tikva. The store owner and the wounded man were reportedly able to tackle the assailant to the ground, take his weapon, and then are said to have stabbed the attacker to death. Also earlier today, a Palestinian woman tried to stab police officers on Haggai Street in Jerusalem. During the altercation, the woman was shot and killed. She was said to be around 50 years old and a resident of East Jerusalem. In other news, U.S. Vice President Joe Biden landed at Ben Gurion Airport today, accompanied by his wife, Dr. Jill Biden. The vice president was received at the airport by Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon, U.S. Ambassador to Israel Dan Shapiro, and Israeli Ambassador to Washington Ron Dermer. Biden is set to make his way to the Peres Center for Peace in Jaffa and meet with former Israeli President Shimon Peres today. He will also meet with current Israeli President Reuven Rivlin and with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. Biden will later travel to Ramallah to meet with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. And earlier today, Paris welcomed American supermodel Naomi Campbell to Israel to help him salute women trailblazers at an event held at the Paris Center in honor of International Women's Day. Paris presented Campbell with the Women Leading Change Award in recognition of her global endeavors for women and for needy communities. Israeli women were recognized at the event for their contributions to Israeli society. They included Ofra Strauss, who is the chair of the Strauss Group, and the chair of Jasmine, an organization which promotes entrepreneurship among Jewish and Arab women business owners. Also honored Nadia Kanani, who is the director of Hand in Hand, a bilingual school in Jerusalem for Jewish and Arab children, among other women who were recognized today. A young Jewish teenager was reportedly attacked on his way to synagogue on Saturday afternoon in Paris's 12th district. This according to the National Bureau for Vigilance Against Anti-Semitism, or BNVCA, which is a Jewish nonprofit which monitors hate crimes against Jews. The BNVCA said the attackers called the boy, who was wearing a kippah at the time, a dirty Jew and punched him. The attackers reportedly fled when people appeared on the street, and the boy was able to get to the synagogue and report the attack. Police are investigating. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight here on JBS for Tuesday, March the 8th. At 7 o'clock, New York Times columnist Nicholas Kristof explores the empathy gap in America. and suggests ways to combat it. At 7:30, actor Michael Douglas sits with the New York Times' Jodi Kantor and others to talk about open and welcoming community. At 8, a look at Jewish communities in China and India, and a discussion of American Jewry and the meaning of diversity with Deborah Vishnevsky of the Jewish Multiracial Network, part of JBS's exclusive coverage of the Limud Conference New York 2016 from Stamford, Connecticut. Then at 9, Mark Golub sits down with Ethiopian Jew Hadas Josef on L'chaim, followed at 10 o'clock by New Jewish Cinema with Ethiopian star Sirak Sabahat. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, March the 8th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.